Howdy folks, I'm Brian, and here's some Reddit. I just want to take a moment and see how everyone's doing. I hope you're doing alright. I really appreciate all the folks who've taken time to like and comment and subscribe on these videos. It really keeps me going. I really appreciate it. It makes me so happy to know that so many people are enjoying these videos, and I get happy every time I see all the views and stuff like that. It just makes me really happy. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch these videos. All right, let's get started. All right, our first letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for telling my boyfriend to act less gay when he meets my parents? I understand that acting gay isn't really a thing, but you know what I mean. We're both 20-year-old males. My parents are pretty homophobic, but they are trying to not be. They're both trying to learn and become comfortable with the idea of me dating a guy. They wanted to meet my boyfriend after quarantine is over. My boyfriend has a bit of a persona. People tell him that he looks like a gay adult worker from 100 years ago. And he's a bit pretentious, and he loves all those characters like Sebastian Flate and embodies a less dangerous version of them. Anyway, we were talking about him meeting my parents since they heard him trip over a cord in the background while I was FaceTiming with them. Great first introduction. And I asked him to try and act less gay when he meets them. That was admittedly a bad choice of words, and he got pretty upset. So I tried to clarify, and I said that there's nothing wrong with his personality or appearance, but that my parents are already uncomfortable with the concept of gay people because they think they all act like him. Well, why don't we just hand you a bigger shovel, OP, for you to dig yourself out of a hole? Meeting him at a full social setting mode would just push them back 20 years. The thing is, acting gay isn't even his natural personality. I don't want to say that I'm in the wrong because I'm literally asking him just to act like himself and not put on the show that he usually does when he's meeting new people and is at parties. He said that if my parents don't accept me, they shouldn't be in my life. It's not that easy for me. I love my parents. Am I the jerk? Alright, OP. So, I'm gonna have to say that you are the jerk here, and I think that you're still pretty young here, and you haven't had a lot of life experience, and the thing is that people aren't uniform, and they aren't like one-sided character cutouts. People have multi-facets to their personalities. I might be a completely different person to someone else than I am, to my friends and family. Like to a stranger, I'm just going to appear to be a completely different person than, someone like Amber. And this is because, we are complicated individuals and we have a lot of different traits that we like to present to people. When you're at a party, for instance, you're going to be probably a little more cut loose and you're going to act in a way that probably is kind of like vibe with the environment. Whereas if you're with your partner, you're going to probably be a little more, it really depends on, how you are with your partner. So you're not going to act the same probably. And he's acting more normal, I guess, is what you're trying to say. He's acting less, I guess, not vibrant, but flamboyant. So I guess when he's around you, he's not acting quite as flamboyant as what he does when he's at a party. You know him in a different setting. And there's nothing to say that he was going to act this way when he was meeting your parents, and you're just kind of jumping to conclusions. Like, you don't understand how he was going to act. So, that's just it, is that, he has a personality, and he is who he wants to be, and how he acts is kind of up to him. If the way he's acting, if his behaviors and mannerisms are something that you don't like and you think you can't tolerate, then maybe he's not a good fit for you. And, there may be certain things that he does that you don't care for, and maybe, that's just some unreconcilable difference in a relationship. So, I would definitely, say that you should not, this is an unreasonable request, is to ask him to act a certain way or to normalize himself just so that he can please your parents. I think that's in the wrong here. So, but the real question is, I guess, are these behaviors something that you're uncomfortable with? And if you are uncomfortable with them, then again, I think maybe if these are a deal breaker, it might be a deal breaker, and maybe you need to find another partner. That's only something that you're going to be able to say. So anyhow, yeah, I mean, I just cannot stress this enough. I don't think that you should be trying to shape and mold your boyfriend just so that your parents like who he is as a person or learn to accept him as a person. I get where you're coming from, but I'm going to give you a soft "you're the jerk." I see why you would want him to mediate it, but it's not your boyfriend's responsibility for your parents to have better ideas about gay people. If your boyfriend is a character, I'm assuming that's one of the things that attracts you to him. You need to back him up and not throw him to the wolves. Yeah, I think this summarizes it really well here. Speaking of throwing someone to the wolves, our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for telling my daughter the truth about why I wasn't in her life?" To start, my ex and I were 19 when she got pregnant. We had recently broke up and she found out a couple weeks later that she was pregnant. She planned to get an abortion, but only wanted her sister there. So, I was always under the belief that she had aborted. She only contacted me once she said it was done, and we didn't speak again. Fast forward 19 years later, I found out a month ago that it was a lie. My ex passed away 3 years ago, and my daughter Kara has been living with her uncle. He was the one to reach out and give me a heads up after she expressed an interest in wanting us to connect. He and I spoke at length because I was feeling some pretty strong emotions, like rage for never being told about her. My ex had backed out of the abortion but didn't want me involved because we were broken up, so she just decided not to tell me. But he told me that Kara doesn't know about that. Apparently, I wasn't ready for fatherhood because we were both young, so I bailed. I could not believe it. Rob, her uncle, told me that he knows his sister was in the wrong, but promised that Kara doesn't have any negative feelings towards me, and my ex never painted me as some villain, just as a young guy who knew he couldn't properly care for her. He asked me not to tell Kara this when we talk if she asks because it could hurt the way she saw her mom. I actually never confirmed that I would. Kara messaged me and we've been talking. I've been to meet her twice and it's been crazy emotional. Looking at this girl who looks just like me and hurting that we're just barely getting to know each other. So far, our conversations have only been about what her life was like, how's my life, what's her future goals and wants, and getting to know each other. We met again Tuesday, and she finally decided to ask the obvious question about what made me not want to be involved. How did I feel? What went through my mind? And did I ever think about her, etc.? I had been thinking about what to do in that moment, but I just didn't have it in me to lie, so I was honest. I told her about the abortion, that I had no idea that she existed until now, but that I still really want to be in her life and have the chance to be her father if she wants that. Kara was a bit emotional. We talked some more, and she said that she still wants me involved. That night, my messenger blew up. Not just from Rob, but from her grandparents as well. They're all outraged for me telling Kara about her mom because she yelled at all of them and is refusing to even take their calls. Yes, the lie was terrible, but that I just ruined the image that she had of her late mom for my own benefit. Rob called me selfish for not taking into consideration how this would affect Kara finding out about this. So right now I feel like garbage. I get honesty is the best policy, but in this case, I don't know if I was a jerk for doing it. I'm still learning this whole dad business, so I don't know if I dropped the ball here. Yes, OP, you should have just jumped in front of that bus. Yeah, I don't know, OP. Like, sure, you had an option to either, like, take the blame and come up with a lie and whatnot, but the thing is this. Like, you're going to have to construct a whole new reality around all of this. Like, oh, did I ever think about you? No, I never thought about you. Or, oh, I thought about you every day. Or, what were you going to say? Like, the thing is, like, you don't know because you you didn't even know that she existed until now. Like, you're still processing this. I think it was really unfair for you to be basically put in this position. Like, you didn't know about Kara, and you didn't know about her situation, and you didn't even know that her mom passed away, probably. And for them to blame you for not being involved with her life when it was, a conscious decision by your ex that she made is really unfair to you. And you wouldn't have even been able to cover all those questions that she was asking you fairly because, like, you don't have a good answer because you would have had to invent stuff. And I think that's really unfair to ask for you to invent a whole new reality just so that this image of her mom can continue to live in whatever, form that it was. People make mistakes. And I think that's the crux of the issue here. Her mom made a mistake, she lied about this, and she propagated the lie. And she asked everyone else to propagate the lie too, and they made a decision to do so. They didn't have to. They did it because it was convenient. And that's just it. Or maybe to some degree they thought that this was true. Well, I mean, I guess that's probably not true because Rob apparently knew that it wasn't true. So, yeah, I don't know. You, I think, did the right thing in this situation, and this isn't an easy situation. Sometimes there are good situations or solutions in life. This was one of those situations. And you're going to feel bad because, like, you did, tarnish the image of her mom, her late mom. And that wasn't your fault. That was a set of decisions that she made, and it is just the way it is sometimes. I would, continue on the path that you're continuing on and, continue to talk to your daughter and continue to build a relationship with her. This is going to be a painful time for her because she's basically had her whole life kind of upended by one, her mom passing away a few years ago, and two, now learning that you didn't even know that she existed. And she's going to feel a lot of conflicted, feelings about that because she's going to probably feel somewhat robbed by the fact that you weren't in her life for all those years. And that's just the way it is. I mean, she may need counseling. She may want to, go into family counseling between her and her family and maybe even you. And I think that this is just going to be something that's going to take time to heal. She may even feel kind of robbed that she didn't have, you to live with when her mom passed away. And, how does she know that that life wouldn't have been a better life for her? She doesn't, and you don't either. There aren't any good answers here. So I really think this is a sad story all around, and I wish you and Kara the best of luck in the future. Not the jerk. Your ex lied. Your ex created this mess. I'm sorry that she's passed, but she did this. You have no obligations to continue a lie that you had no part of. Your daughter deserves the truth. Exactly, OP. You were the victim of someone else's long-term lie. Your daughter's uncle tried to coerce you into continuing that lie that would only serve to hurt you in favor of your daughter's mother. That's not fair to you. My advice is keep your head down, avoid responding or stirring up more drama, and this too shall pass. Then you can continue building your own relationship with your daughter on your terms, not the jerk. Not only that, he would have lied to fabricate lies of his own to maintain his ex's ones. Yeah, exactly. He would have had to fabricate the feelings that were never there, thoughts that never crossed his mind, conversations that were never had, etc. Not worth it. She would eventually find out the truth. He would be the bad guy along with her mom. She would doubt everything in her life was ever real. Not fair to either of them. Yeah, exactly. Speaking of not fair, Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for not returning my friend's blanket that I spent hours fixing up? My friend was going to toss out an old knitted blanket that she had. I noticed it next to her garbage piled by the door and asked if she was going to toss it. She said that it was excessively pilled, it looked ugly, and she didn't want it anymore. I told her she could borrow my tools and clean the blanket up in a few hours. She said she had plenty of other blankets and she didn't need to do that. She was getting rid of it. I asked her if I could have it, and she shrugged and said, sure. I took it home, I cleaned it up over a couple sessions, and I have a shaver and a pillar. It took about 3 to 4 hours to do it perfectly. I detailed it pretty extensively. When I finished, it looked almost brand new. I liked it so much, I draped it over the back of my sofa. My friend came over to visit this week and she noticed the blanket on my sofa. She gasped when she saw it and confirmed that it was her old blanket. She seemed shocked at how good it looked. She commented that she wouldn't have given it to me if she knew it could be cleaned up so well, and would I consider giving it back? I politely refused because I spent so long cleaning it up. She said that was rude of me. I would have returned it if it was handmade. I asked if it was handmade when she asked me to return it, but this is a store-bought blanket that has no sentimental value. I don't think she should get the multiple hours I spent cleaning it up for nothing when she could have done it herself. I even told her she could do it and offered to lend her my tools. My view is that it would be in the landfill right now if I hadn't fixed it up. She's now being short and snippy with me. Am I the jerk for not returning my friend's blanket that I fixed up? I'm going to leave the comments here. I don't really think they're all that worth reading. All right, OP, I'm going to have to agree with Reddit on this one and say that you're not the jerk. And sometimes, it was really unfair for her to ask this of you. And, if this had been a sentimental handmade blanket or sentimental for some reason or another, then maybe she would have a little more grounds to ask for this back. But it didn't have any sentimental attachment. It was just an old grungy blanket that she didn't want anymore, and so she was throwing it out. You saw in the encrusted blanket a diamond in the rough. That's what I was looking for. You saw a diamond in the rough here. You said, oh, look at this blanket. I bet there could be something really nice here. So you took the time, energy, and love, and you cleaned it up. And you made it your own. Now she's upset that you won't give it to her. No, that's not how the world works. That's not how any of this works. She threw it out and you now own it. This is, possession is 9/10 of the law. Isn't that what they say? So absolutely not the jerk here. I'm really glad that you were able to refurbish it and make it look brand new. You can apply this to a lot of different things. I've fixed a lot of computers over time that people, have tossed, or any number of things. And, I've gotten them up and running and I've put, time, energy, and parts into them and stuff like that. And if someone were to be like, oh, hey, that computer that I gave you that you fixed up, it's working so great now. Can you give it back to me? I would have a really hard time with that. Although I've actually given a lot of those fixed up computers away because it just is I fix them and then kind of give them away. So I probably actually would in that case, but it would still not be fair necessarily for them to ask that. But I'm not making a very good case for my argument here. So no, I don't think it's something fair to ask. Not the jerk, no take backsies. Yeah. She can have it back for the $100 per hour you spent on it. She's a jerk. Not the jerk, it's a gift. She's rude for asking for it back after all the work you put into it. I'm reminded of another post where someone found a pet in bad shape and invested money and care into getting that pet back into good shape, and the old owner demanded it back even though the previous owner's neglect was the big reason why the pet was in bad shape. And, as another commenter pointed out, she's so not going to pay you for the work you put into it. Yeah. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. If you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.